Hi everyone. In this video, I want to talk very briefly about preparing for an AP exam. And the principles that I'm going to talk about don't necessarily only apply to AP US history. It can apply to any other AP exam or even, just other large tests, right? So let's get started. We want to be rethinking our approach. So with every course, you want to be thinking, okay, what are the main structures, right? In US history, we've got content, all of the events, laws, people, etc., like the stuff, right? Then we think about how historians apply it. Noticing and discussing the impact that certain events have on others, have on social classes, causes of multiple events, comparing different reform movements, analyzing their effectiveness, right? All of those historical thinking skills is an important component, right? So how can we best demonstrate those things and apply them to our content, right? Then the last component is doing deliberate practice, right? Practice with questions that you're most likely to see on your exam, another way to effectively study. So we want to be thinking here long-term, not short-term. Don't let the test take you take the test, right? We want you going into your exams or into your final or college entrance exam or whatever, right? Feeling confident. And a lot of that confidence has to do with feeling comfortable with content and applying that information, right? So we want to be thinking, how do we build fluency with content and applying and being able to pull up that information and applying it to many different areas. The best way to do that is with a practice called spaced repetition. With spaced repetition, it's the idea that you want to refresh your memory, to repeat that information, to get another exposure of that information, just as your memory retention is starting to drop. So you can see the chart on the right-hand side, which is called the forgetting curve. And you can see the forgetting curve in blue, right? Once we know something, we have a high memory retention, but then it starts to degrade over time. So the idea is you want to repeat that information just as your memory retention is starting to fall. And over time, that has an average increasing percentage of memory retention. So that's the principle I've applied to the paper that you have that should have been passed out today, your 30-day review calendar. It's the idea that every day you review a little bit, right? And then every couple of days you repeat that information, right? You're reviewing that information. It's spaced repetition is the studying principle of studying for shorter bursts of times, less time over a longer period of review. So here I have the 30-day review calendar. I will post this to Google Classroom, but you also have the tiny URL that's easy to remember. Once again, I just want to mention that this is optional. I do not require it. You're not going to get a grade for it in class, but students who have done this, and I've had this 30-day review calendar for about as long as I've been teaching overall, right? Students who really do it and who stick to it and are committed, they go into that test feeling incredibly confident with having that fluency with content, but also with feeling prepared to tackle it, right? So I suggest 15 to 20 minutes every day reviewing the topics that I've listed. And then you can see on the fourth day, I have go back and review April's 1, 2, and 3, right? So you can use this as a way to space out what you're studying, and you can apply that principle to any other class that you wish or any other topic. So here's my example. I just took April 1st. And you want to be thinking when you're studying, what are you doing with it, right? How are you being active? So I decided to create a mind map, and normally I would do it on paper, but I ran out of paper and I didn't have any markers, so I did it digitally. And I started with my two main bubbles, pre-Columbian cultures, right? Native American groups, pre-Columbus, and European exploration, because those are the two big topics. Then, right, I think, okay, what are my pre-Columbian cultures? Well, I've got the Aztec and the Inca, and then it says one group per area, right? So if you think about the geography of the United States, you've got, the farming agricultural ones east of the Mississippi River. Then you've got the Great Plains, who are nomadic, and then you've got the Pueblo in the Southwest and the Pacific Northwest that does fishing. So that's how I've kind of organized my groups. And then after that, I went back and I looked at my notes again, and I added more detail. I pulled up more information and I added more information to my things, because with the Aztecs, I totally forgot about the importance of chinampas. Chinampas was the man-made islands that they built, and they farmed on that, and that vastly increased their harvest, their food, which allowed them to support a really, really high population. So that was an important thing that I forgot, that I added once I went back to my notes. You can also hear on mind maps, they're really great because you can show relationships, which is an important historical thinking skill. You can compare things and contrast things. You can be demonstrating cause and effect, and I've got that with some arrows and such. And so you want to be thinking about, when you're studying for 20 minutes, what are you doing? Don't just watch a video, right? Everyone can watch a video and you just kind of space out. What are you going to be doing with it, right? Start always, when you're studying, start always thinking with a blank piece of paper, what do I know, right? What do I feel really confident in the first place with? And then go back to your resources. The last thing I wanted you to take a look at is an exam review website. You can go ahead and pause this video, type it in, and look around. It has a whole bunch of resources, lots of practice stuff. Some of the files, there's a lot of files on there, so it takes a little bit to load. Just be careful about that. When you're done, talk with a neighbor. What's like 2 resources you're going to use that might seem helpful? All right, everyone, let me know if you have any questions. Have a good day.